Hey guys, HDvee here and welcome to a brand new video. Today we've got some pretty big things to go over. Some new Generation 10 rumors have dropped. I don't know why we're getting so much Gen 10 stuff lately, but they keep popping up. We have some more Generation 10 hints to go over and also some major Nintendo Switch 2 details also dropping as well. There's a lot of things to break down today, so if you're excited for the video, drop a like down below, leave a comment, subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So, starting things off, I wanted to go over this post quickly from Soul Silver Art saying the Pokémon Company / Nintendo has a trademark / pattern on gliding, forcing Power World to remove gliding with PAL. So if you don't know what's going on, basically with the whole Power World Nintendo situation, Power World have to keep making these changes because of this lawsuit, and one of those was that they basically used to be able to use pals like the monsters in that game to kind of glide to different areas, and they had to change that because of Nintendo, and that's because they have a trademark or a patent or something like that on gliding. And so Soul Silver Art's basically saying, you know, what about all the other games where you fly on monsters? No, this might be because the Pokemon Company could be using gliding as a big feature in a big game in the very near future. Hello, Generation 10. So potentially Nintendo have been knocking on the door of Power, being like, yeah, you can't do that because we are bringing out a big game in 2026, which would be Generation 10, and we are going to have gliding on Pokemon in that. I mean, there's kind of been gliding already with Hisui and Braviary, and I guess with Miraidon and Koraidon, you're kind of gliding down and stuff. But yeah, the fact that they've won the battle in order to make Power World get rid of gliding in the games means that they have to have pretty, you'd like to think, substantial ground as to why they can make that claim. So yeah, maybe they are going to have some sort of big gliding feature in Generation 10. Obviously the one they're using here for this example is the Auras sort of gliding in Pokemon, yeah, Mega Ruby and Alsapha with the Latias and Latios Mega Evolutions, which is a really cool feature, and I really hope they bring something like this back into a future game. But yeah, quite interesting that Power World were made to kind of get rid of gliding. Probably going to be because of Generation 10. We'll have to wait and see, but definitely some food for thought. Coming up next, we have some new Nintendo Switch 2 footage and images to go over. The first one comes to us from Stealth, saying Nintendo showed the final Nintendo Switch 2 retail packaging. So this is what your Nintendo Switch 2 is going to look like on the 5th of June when you get it. So obviously it has the console on the front. On the right-hand side, it has the Joy-Cons, and then it has the kind of kickstand here for the Nintendo Switch 2, and they're playing it. On the back, they have the Nintendo Switch 2 console just out of the dock, and it says Nintendo Switch 2. And then on the other side, we have them playing the Nintendo Switch 2 out and about or something like that. But yeah, that's basically the kind of box there. You also have the bottom and the top as well, which just has more details about the console and stuff. And then it just has the Nintendo logo on the top. Nothing crazy there, but we also have this, which is a post from Stealth saying Nintendo showed how fast it is to switch between mouse mode and the regular Joy-Con controller option. So I believe they're playing Metroid here. So as you can see, they're using the controller Joy-Cons in the bottom left, and then they are going to move to mouse mode, and they just show you how seamlessly easy it is to switch. So they just literally put it onto the table, and then they're suddenly in mouse mode. So that's all you have to do. You don't have to click any buttons or anything like that. You literally just have your Joy-Cons in your hand, you place it on the side, and then you're suddenly in mouse mode. So it's that easy of a transition for games. And again, this is them doing it again, going straight from mouse mode to Joy-Con. It's just that easy. So they're going to utilize this a lot in a lot of Nintendo Switch 2 games. There might even be a mouse mode function in the Nintendo Switch 2 version of Pokemon Legends EA. I didn't think there would be because it's not a Nintendo Switch 2 game. But obviously, neither is this Metroid game. It's a Nintendo Switch 1 game, but then it's having a sort of Nintendo Switch 2 version, just like Pokemon Legends EA. I don't know what the mouse controls would be used for in Pokemon Legends EA. Maybe catching Pokemon, maybe just running around, maybe even dodging attacks and stuff in the real-time battling. But either way, I'm more inclined to believe that we might see some mouse functionality for Legends EA. We know there's not going to be any more features and stuff. The main thing is obviously better frame rates, and the game's just going to run smoother and stuff like that. But yeah, the fact that mouse mode is available in this Metroid game, yeah, definitely paves the way open for the Nintendo Switch 2 version of Pokemon Legends EA as well. Moving on, we have a new Generation 10 rumor to cover. This was posted on the 13th of May. It's titled Generation 10 posted by Anonymous Uncle. These names get worse and worse, I swear, for credibility. But either way, it was posted on 4chan, as always. Take it with a big old grain of salt. Probably going to be fake. I don't know why we're getting so much Gen 10 stuff lately. Like, Legends EA is literally out this year. Gen 10's not even been announced yet. But I guess we have had a couple of leaks about Gen 10 lately with the kind of the fact that it's going to be based on Greece and it's going to be based on an archipelago of islands and stuff like that. We're getting more ideas about the gimmick and stuff. So maybe that's why there's more rumors and stuff popping up. But anyway, take it with a big old grain of salt, as always. So the starter Pokemon are apparently going to be a grass puppy. We're going to get a fire calf, and then we're also going to be getting a water dolphin. I think this is like the second or third rumor I've covered where they've said the water starter is going to be a dolphin, which would be pretty cool. I mean, it took us a long time to get a dolphin in Palafin and Finnizin and stuff like that, and now they're just giving us water dolphins left, right, and center. But anyway, those are apparently starters. I'd be kind of happy with those, yeah. I mean, a grass puppy would be kind of cool. Fire calf, water dolphin, yeah, I'd be fine with those. And then it says the mascot legendaries are a Pegasaur and Ippothalas. I assume that's the names. And then it says we're going to get some new mons as well. So we're going to get a normal goat, which I think we've already covered that as well. I think there was a different rumor that spoken about a normal goat and a bug ant as well. I think there was also like a poison bug mosquito or something. But yeah, normal goat, which would be the kind of regional sort of early route Pokemon. A bug ant, which would be similar to like Caterpie, Wurmple, whatever. Fire Fairy Olympic Flame, so don't really want to see that. It just sounds like a pretty bad idea. Grass/Ice Mint, an Electric Fire type Cheetah Pokemon. We have a Water Rock Prehistoric Shark. I'm pretty sure that we didn't get any fossils in Gen 9. We did get them in Gen 8. We didn't get them in Gen 7, so it'd be nice to see them in Generation 10. I know that I guess had like prehistoric Pokemon in Generation 9 because of the different paradox forms and stuff, but they weren't like fossilized Pokemon brought back to life. We then have a fighting flying double-headed eagle. We have a dragon psychic pseudo legendary as well. And then the story is the oldest civilization in Pokemon world is 5,000 years of history, and there's also going to be the Poke Olympics as well. So that would be the story. It's just a very old region. It's the oldest region in Pokemon, apparently. And it's been around... again, they haven't given us the region name or anything, but yeah, it's been around for over 5,000 years. And they say the gimmick is, you know it very well. So I assume that they're referring to what Moot said there about the gimmick and the leaks and the praying and everything like that. And then it said the most epic game in Pokemon. So... yeah, I mean, it's hard to really distinguish whether this is real or fake. I mean, they haven't really given us any information to go off that would make it sound fake or real. Again, a lot of these rumors aren't going to be answered until we get our first Generation 10 trailer, which won't be until next February, which is why it's kind of crazy we're getting all these Generation 10 rumors now and no Legends EA rumors. Legends EA is literally coming out this year, and I haven't seen a Legends EA rumor in a while, but I feel like there's a Gen 10 rumor every day. But let me know your thoughts on this rumor. Would you like it to be true? I kind of like the ideas of the starters and stuff, but nothing else really jumps out at me that makes me want this to be true. But again, just got to take it with a massive grain of salt. What are your thoughts on this rumor? But yeah, that's the latest rumor for the Generation 10 Pokemon games. Finishing things off today, we have some big updates to go over for the Nintendo Switch 2. Eurogamer here tweeting out saying Nintendo Switch 2 Digital Foundry confirms the full tech specs, the CPU/GPU clock speeds, and how much of the system's resources are actually available to developers. So we knew a bit of this information, but now it's all been made public from Digital Foundry. So this is a pretty long article, but we have comparisons and stuff from the Nintendo Switch 1 and the Switch 2, so you kind of know what you're going to be getting with the new console. But Nintendo has released its own technical specifications for the Nintendo Switch 2 console hybrid, but it's fair to say that the detail is somewhat selective, and that's okay. It's been a long time since the firm ducked out of the technological arms race against Sony and Microsoft, but at the same time, an information void demands to be filled. We've covered compelling leaks about the new console's T239 processor in the past, but today we can rule out the various asterisks and caveats surrounding unconfirmed rumors and deliver what you might call a final specification along with some of the limitations developers are dealing with in working with the Nintendo Switch 2. So a lot of the detail we have focuses on the vaguest element of the official specification specification, the custom processor made by NVIDIA. When the original Switch first launched, Nintendo described it as a custom NVIDIA Tegra processor, when in reality it was effectively a vanilla Tegra X1. However, Switch 2's SoC, described in shipping manifests and NVIDIA leaks as T239, is very much custom silicon designed specifically for Nintendo. A lot of the confirmed detail tallies with existing leaks, but we have learned more. So starting with the CPU, NVIDIA and Nintendo have indeed settled on the ARM Cortex-A78C running the ARM V8 64-bit instruction set with cryptography extensions enabled. 32-bit is not supported by the SDK. Looking at the official specifications shared by ARM, there are variations cache configurations available, but the Switch 2 iteration has 64K of L1 instruction cache and another 64K or L1 data cache. So moving on to L2, each of the 8 cores has 256K. We'll take a look at the specs here anyway. So this is the Switch 1 NVIDIA Tegra X1, and this is the Switch 2 NVIDIA T239. So as you can see, it's doubled in terms of the ARM Cortex. It's gone from 4 times to 8 times. It's gone from 1020 megahertz docked / mobile, and the max was 1.785 gigahertz. It's now 9980 megahertz, so nearly times 10 the power in docked, and then 1101 megahertz mobile, and then also 1.7 gigahertz. And then it says 2 cores, 6 available to developers, against the 1 core that the Switch 1 had, which was 3 available for developers. Maxwell and Ampere for the CPU architecture, 256 CUDA cores against the 1536 for the Switch 2. And then you've got the clocks as well. You got the memory, 128 against the 64, 102 gigabytes compared to the 25 point. Like, the numbers are just all a lot better for the Nintendo Switch 2, as you can see. So the original Switch 1's Tegra X1 featured ARM Cortex A57 cores, 4 of them which were reserved for OS features, leaving 3 free for developers. There's a similar ratio in the Switch 2, with its 6 cores being available to developers and 2 reserved by Nintendo for running the operating system. CPU clocks are confirmed, but it's still a bit of a mystery. In mobile mode, the CPU runs at 1100, dropping down to 998 in its performance mode, typically used when running docked, a distinction we make because there's nothing stopping developers running Switch 1 or Switch 2 in mobile mode when docked. We still don't have an explanation on why mobile mode CPU clocks are higher if the performance mode, but memory bandwidth drops in mobile mode, which would likely have an impact on the CPU performance. That's just a theory on our part. Interestingly, Nintendo does specify that the maximum clock is 1.7 gigahertz CPU, a lot higher than the other specified figures. Again, speculation here, but this could be a theoretical maximum that Nintendo could open up at some point in the future or use in special circumstances. Back in the day, Nintendo improved loading times on the Switch 1 games by downclocking the GPU on loading screens and using the thermal headroom to ramp up the CPU to its maximum. A faster CPU means faster decomposition of assets. So while 1100 and 998 clocks are confirmed, a theoretical 1.7 gigahertz is possible. And then moving on to the graphics hardware, and again, what we're effectively looking at confirmation of existing spec leaks. When Switch 1 used the NVIDIA Maxwell architecture from the GTX 900 series, Switch 2 uses the Ampere architecture as seen on the RTX 30 series. Similar to the Switch 1 GPU, think of it as a miniaturized version of a consumer GPU. Cores are confirmed as a clock speed, yada yada yada. Again, though, there is a maximum slated clock of 1.4 gigahertz, and developers can adjust the clock rate, but it's unclear if running it higher than the standard handheld / docked clocks is actually possible. Developers don't get full GPU resources, though. Some of it is reserved by the system. And then make no mistake, though, this is a full Ampere GPU rated for 3.072 when running in docked mode, according to Nintendo itself. So by extension, that we drop down to 1.71 when running in mobile mode. TLOP's comparisons against other devices are irrelevant at this point in a world where memory bandwidth is hugely important for mobile devices, and where the concept of FLO, flopflation, can overemphasize the GPU gaming potential ultimately. Again, a lot of it might not make sense. A lot of it is big words, and yeah, things are, again, it's like I said, it's a really long article. We're not going to read all of this, but yeah, basically this is the comparison that's going to make the most sense. And you can see that there's a lot more numbers. To dumb it down as much as possible, there's a lot more numbers on the left than on the right. So the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be a much better console, and is going to be yeah, much more powerful. It's going to run things a lot much better, and yeah, it's going to be a great time. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on that. This is confirmed information from Nintendo as well. This isn't like rumors. It's basically just kind of confirmed a lot of the leaks that we knew, which again, they were leaked anyway, so it's not really massive surprising news, but it's nice to get confirmation from Nintendo. But let me know your thoughts on all that. Let me know your thoughts on the new Generation 10 rumors, the latest Generation 10 rumors for next year, and then also, what are your thoughts on mouse mode potentially being in Pokemon Legends ZA? And then also, let me know your thoughts on, do you think we're going to have some sort of like massive gliding feature in Generation 10, which is why that they made Power World kind of like put gliding out of their game. I don't know, quite interesting. We'll have to see what happens. But thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, drop a like down below. It's trying to hit 500 likes. It does really help out. Leave a comment, like I said, with anything we covered in today's video. Subscribe if you're brand new. Ring the notification bell for daily Pokemon content. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And until next time, peace.